So let's talk the drum. Talk the drum because, excuse me, because all of, I should have got some water, because all of the views on that particular clip, the spirit was saying, talk about the drum, my sister, because you asked me to, and because I am an instrument of the cosmos, of divine intelligence, and I go where I'm needed. And because I will be honest with you, I have been waiting all week to do this. All right. The first thing I have to do is to take the drum out of the little box the modern world has placed it in. That's the first thing we got to do. When most people today hear the word drum, they think about a kick drum, a snare, and whatever else goes on that stand, right? They think entertainment, a beat, something in the background, but that keeps the movement of the music because the drum sets the beat. It sets the tone. The drum is the base of the music. And I need you to set that down, the idea of it being something in the background. I need you to set that down for a few minutes completely, because it is not remotely what the drum was to your ancestors, my friends. The drum was technology. Rivaling the telephone, the telegram. Even before white folks could communicate over distances, Africans had the drum. The drum was one of the most sophisticated communication and spiritual instruments on the face of this earth. Let's say it again. Maybe you didn't hear me clearly. The drum is one of the most sophisticated communication and spiritual instruments on the face of the entire earth. Let me show you, give you some examples, all right? So in much of West Africa, the languages were tonal, which means that the pitch of the word is part of its very meaning, how you say something, sort of like when we have a sentence with a question mark compared to an exclamation point, compared to a period, right? It means the pitch. I'm coming, right? I don't know, tonality, right? Do you know what this means, right? It's part, but ours is a whole damn sentence. Forget the pitch in a word. The pitch of a word is part of its very meaning of the word. So that the same, and yes, we have syllables. This is a little bit different. So that the same syllables in a different pitch is different. We have syllables, right? And that syllable is inflexible, that accent. You can't change in American language. You can't put that accent somewhere else. It's stuck. So in West Africa, the same syllable at a different pitch is a different word entirely. And so English has it's not creative in any way, shape, or form. It's even the Queen's English, American English, is completely devoid of absolutely any nuance, creativity, no dance, nothing special. Utilitarian. That's what it is. That's what it is. No secrets behind it. Nothing. I mean, black folks take it and do wonders. Look at Eminem. He's not black, but he's just phenomenal, right? He plays with that. And then spoken word artists do too, right? So there are folks that understand that dance of the word and the syllables and the accents and all that good stuff. So I don't want to say nothing's happening here, but the English language is very inflexible and rigid. So, our ancestors built drums, right? That could bend and slide their pitch. Unlike, well, the drums we have nowadays are based off of those, but this is deep. Like the language with the tones, the drums could bend and slide their pitch. The ones we call the talking drums, right? And with them, a skilled drummer could literally speak. They could send a sound of an actual sentence out across miles and miles and miles from one village to the next, and so on, faster than a man could run. A whole language riding on rhythm through the open air. That's powerful. The drum was the wire. It was the long distance line. Centuries before there was a single wire strung anywhere on this planet, and definitely anywhere here in a place we call United States of Americans. The drum was the keeper of time. It was the great heartbeat, my friends, that held an entire community together in one shared rhythm. At the harvest and the wedding and the funeral and the naming, so that a whole people moved and breathed as one body. And the drum was sacred, holy, set apart. I mean, I used to date my child's father, used to play djembe, and he's the only man could play it. He would not let me touch that drum. I respected him, right? Sacred, holy, set apart. Only he could touch it. And women did not touch the djembe. In ceremony, the drum was how you called the ancestors and the spirits into the room. The right rhythm in the right hands at the right time could carry a person up and out of ordinary waking consciousness, my friends, and swing open the door between the world of the living and the world of the dead. The drum was a summons. The drum was prayer with a pulse. The drum was the ancestors still speaking out loud in the presence. And you know, I listen to drums, tribal drums, African drums, just the drums a lot. And it was something I did. I didn't understand why. And then after, growing and in this Kim awakening and in Melanin Metaphysics, it just made sense to me. It was part of my soul. I use the drums in rituals. I don't play them, but I have tracks. And they do summons, and they are key in rituals and speaking with the dead. And they're powerful. This is some of the stuff we talk about in the temple, these strategies and techniques that have gone to sleep and that many spiritual teachers don't even really know about, especially if they're not Kim, Black. And yeah, period. So, my friend, I want you to hear the fear as Caucasians understood it in regards to the drum. In the year, and I did talk about this a little bit, but I just want to explain a little bit more. In 1739, in the colony of South Carolina, right, there was an uprising. History remembers it as the Stono, Stono Rebellion. A group of enslaved rose up and set out to march from their south toward freedom, physical freedom. And as they went, they carried drums. And they beat those drums to call others out of the fields and onto the road with them. And the powers of that colony saw something in that moment. Those Caucasians saw something that terrified them to their soul, down to the ground. They saw that the drum could gather people. You would think that they would have known this from all their studies of us before they kidnapped us. But of course, they only see what they want to see. And they could not, right? So they saw the drum could carry a message that they themselves could not read and could not stop and could not even hear coming, right? And so the very next year in 1740, they passed a law. They called it the Negro Act. There was a lot more in that, but that was a law. And among its cruelties, it reached out and outlawed the drum. It made the drum illegal. They made the drum illegal. Just the idiocy. Even though they were smart, these people, I mean, to some level, it's idiotic. And I want you to sit with how strange that is on the face, because that's idiotic, right? A whole colony of armed and powerful men sat down together and wrote a law against a musical instrument. You do not do that over entertainment, my friend. You do not marshal the whole force of the state against. Oh my goodness, give me a second. I forgot to do something very important. But you do not marshal, you know, a whole state, right, to stop something like the drum if you're not concerned about its power. It is insanity. Give me a second here. I'm always forgetting this. And I know this is Saturday, and I probably should be a little bit more relaxed. I don't know if I can ever be relaxed in these discussions because they are so critically important. But I don't know how many of y'all use these money transfer systems, but sometimes you gotta get your money out right away because people will get into these and siphon away your money as soon as you get it. And yes, I got paid a little from my 850,000 jobs that I have. So, you do not pass a law against a musical instrument over entertainment, right? You do not marshal the state, the force of the state to do that against a background beat, okay? You only do that when you come to the understanding with real fear that the thing in those hands is a weapon and a wire and a way that African peoples, the enslaved peoples, and the ancestors could still speak. They did not ban the drum because it was loud. Oh, they're making so much noise out there. Tell me to turn that down. No. They banned the drum because it was language. Okay? It was language, it was memory, and it was power more than anything else. And Caucasian enslavers came to know that and understand that very clearly. And here is where, I want you to look at the band through the eyes of Kim Metaphysics, Melanin Metaphysics. Rhythm is frequency, it is vibration moving through the air and moving through the body, right? Your body, your Kim, your melanin is a receiver of frequency. It has always been that way forever, my friends. As I'm telling you, comes it is in us. All right. It so when they banned the drum, what they were really reaching for was the antenna. They may not have actually known that, but that's exactly what they were doing. They were trying to jam the Kim signal. They were trying to cut off the frequency that tuned a people to one another and to their ancestors and to the divine, my friends. That is how deep the drum band actually goes. It was never about the noise, it was about the frequency, the vibration, this energetic signal. But you cannot outlaw a heartbeat. And we talked about this with the ib. Okay. And this right here is where I fall in love with our people, African peoples, all over again, African American peoples, all over again, every time I tell it, because when they took the instrument out of our hands, our ancestors did the most extraordinary thing that any people has ever done with a loss. They became the instrument. Do you? Okay, I'm gonna say it one more time. When they took the instrument out of our hands, our ancestors did the most extraordinary thing that any people has ever done with a loss. They themselves became the instrument. So let me just share with you a little bit about patting Juba. And I have a friend who calls himself Papa Juby. Now that name is making a little bit more sense to me. Well, he was a friend years ago. Let me teach you patting Juba all the way because it deserves to be known. When the drum was banned, right, the rhythm did not die and it didn't hide for a very long time. It moved straight into the body. Our people learned to make complex, layered, breathtaking percussion out of nothing at all but themselves. Clapping hands in intricate patterns, you know, we do in church. I don't even want to do it, but you know, they slap their open palms against their sides, against their thighs and their chests. They stomped, they shuffled and slid their feet against the ground and Sandman on the sand. They patted their own cheeks and shoulders to change the pitch and the tone. And they stacked all of it together, one rhythm riding on top of another, fast and syncopated and alive, right? Until the human body itself became a full drum. And no law on this earth could confiscate it, although they could kill you, hang you, cut off your hands, cut off your feet. But you cannot arrest a person's own two hands. They could not arrest just our hands. They might brutalize and deform them, but they can't arrest them. This practice was called patting Juba, and it lived alongside the Juba dance. And I should have had some videos of this. Juba, check it out. A competitive, joyful, dazzling movement where one person would keep the beat going on the body while another danced it out in a ring. And voices would lay call and response chanting over the top of it. The Juba dance, Juba. It survived most powerfully in places like the Sea Islands of Georgia and the Sea Islands, SEA, Sea Islands of Georgia and South Carolina, where our people managed to hold on to so much of home. And it produced dancers of such pure genius that one of them a young black man named William Henry Lane became so celebrated in the 1840s, dancing rings around everyone who dared to step to him. Dance battle. That the world called him Master Juba. And to this day, he is remembered as one of the founding fathers of American dance. I bet you didn't know that. From a band drum, from the refusing body of a stolen people. And do you know where that rhythm traveled from there? I mean, I'm sure you know it. It went everywhere. It conquered everything. Patting Juba runs straight into the ham bone. Ham bone, have you heard? That same body slapping rhythm handed down on the front porches and playgrounds. They even try to do ham bone, ham bone. That's the only thing we know. Ham bone, have you heard? Boop, 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 boop. I remember doing that. Handed down on front porches and playgrounds. It runs into the ring shout, that sacred clockwise circle where our people worship with their whole bodies, the feet sliding, but never crossing the floorboards. I can't even talk. The floorboards themselves becoming the drum. They were forbidden. It runs into the hand clamps and the foot stomps that rock the black church to its foundation on Sundays and other days. It runs into tap dance. It runs into the deep black beat of the blues, which I love, and the swing of jazz, which I love, that this whole country calls its own. She reminds me of Sinners, right? The movie Sinners. The way in which they displayed the juxtaposition of all the different traditions through which the blues still take shape, has taken shape through, and still takes shape. And it runs all the way down into the beatboxing. Remember Biz Markie and others. And the body percussion of our young people right now in this generation, who are still, whether they know it or not, many times they do not know, that they're keeping the ancestors' rhythm alive in their bodies. So think about what actually happened here. They banned the drum in 1740 to silence a people, your ancestors. And the rhythm they tried to kill did not merely survive. It got up out the grave they dug for it and conquered an entire planet. That's the power of kin, the power of melanin. And there's not one corner of the earth today that is not moving, whether it has any idea or not, to the beat of that stolen, silenced, and supposedly powerless activity that people, kept alive with nothing but their hands and their feet and their own refusal to stop, whether they knew it was refusal or not. That is not survival. That is victory, triumphantness. That is power. That is the ancestors having the last word on every dance floor in the world.